Hello, Rambo here with a no baloney guide to the Room of Fate for Dead Ops Arcade 2. I'll be showing you all the different stone locations that you'll need to be familiar with in order to get any fate that you want. So a little information about the Room of Fate before we begin. It appears just after round 19, which takes about 30 minutes to get to. Then you'll have to get through the Temple Fortress Silverback Challenge. There are some goodies down below to help you get to the top. And there's also a couple locations where you can use a speed boost to make your progression to the top both easier and faster. During the first couple of weeks that the game was released, the Room of Fate was totally random. But after the first game update on November 19th, 2015, a way of determining the fates was added, though it is different from DOA 1. Anyways, once you get to the top and drop down, you're now in the Room of Fate. You'll see 4 different stones drop in, each containing a different fate: the Furious Feet, the Fortune, the Friendship, and the Firepower. Those are of course the DOA 1 names that I prefer using. Who the hell wants to say the Power of Destruction? So, each fate has distinguishable characteristics in regard to its size, markings, shape, etc. that help you differentiate it from other fates. For instance, the Furious Feet has little markings in different locations on the stone that can help you identify it. And these attributes sort of vary depending on which corner the fate happens to spawn in during that particular game. For example, in the bottom left corner, the feet stone sort of has a little dent all the way on the left. But I've noticed that players have different aspects of the stones that they look for. So I'm not going to confuse you with all sorts of markings on the stones and other stuff like that. Instead, I'm going to provide you with an image that shows all of the locations for a particular fate. The image on your screen right now shows all the possible stones for the Fortune fate. The top left picture in this image would correspond with the Fortune stone when it happens to be in the top left. The picture in the top right corresponds with the stone when it happens to be in the top right, so on and so forth. I've done this with the other fates as well: the Furious Feet, or Swift Like the Wind, the Friendship, or Eternal Companionship, and finally the Firepower, or Power of Destruction. All of these are top of the line HD screenshots, unlike images you'll see from some other jackasses. If the images are too dark for you, I also made brighter versions of them, so feel free to use these if they help. And you can visit my Twitter, or click the link in the description down below, which will take you directly to a tweet I recently made which shows all 16 different stones that could possibly spawn in. So feel free to refer to that tweet, or take your own screenshots of the images in this video to help you out. Now, are you going to memorize all 16 stones? No, that's not too realistic for the average player. If you're playing a solo game, you should have a fate in mind that you want to play with. So you only need to refer to one image, or 4 stones, and on solo you could zoom in all the way next to each stone, and then you could utilize the pause option, which grants you all the time you need to make sure you get the fate that you want. Because sometimes the stones look sort of similar and it can be tricky to tell apart, so definitely take your time if you're playing solo. On co-op, you don't have the luxury of pausing, so if you're playing with friends, make sure that each one of them is accountable for recognizing his or her particular fate that they want to end up using in that game. And you can still refer to my images in co-op, but you should probably have a good idea what the 4 stones for your intended fate look like, because you only have 30 seconds until you get a warning that the fates will not wait forever. And once this message pops up, you should quickly make a decision, even if you have to guess, because you'll only have an additional 8 or so seconds after the warning. So, in total, you have roughly 40 seconds in the Room of Fate to decide what you want. If you don't get a fate, you should probably restart. But it is worth noting that there is an opportunity to get a fate during the Room of Judgment after round 37. But of course this makes you ineligible for a possible upgrade during that particular Judgment Room. If you're playing with randoms in a public lobby, I would recommend waiting until they're all reviving with a good 35 plus seconds on their revive timer before you drop down the hole. This allows you to pick your fate without interference from them. Then once you have your fate, you can revive them, and if you're lucky, they might choose a fate themselves. Sometimes they don't like picking their fate for some reason. There should be a pop-up message that says, "Hey, shitheads, pick a damn stone already." Even then they would probably be confused. Well, I guess that wraps up the video. Check out this old Room of Judgment video if you want, or you can listen to the DOA 2 soundtrack. Your move, creep.